Invincible nerds.
Welcome to another week of comic book reviews with Invincible Nerds. I'm Ethan.
I'm Francisco.
We have a lot of reviews this week, so we're going to keep things very short and sweet. We're going to start off our Marvel section with Moon Knight, issue number 7. It's a great read, awesome noir style, new villain revealed, Moon Knight gets to kick some ass. I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Up next is Spider-Man issue 673. The epilogue of Spider Island. It was just that, it's an epilogue, it's a fallout. So, all in all pretty good, ties everything up pretty good. All the loose ends are nice and tight, and shows a good future of where everything is going for Spider-Man.
Yeah, and the artwork was pretty okay, but it wasn't as good as Spider Island. I'm going to give this one a 7.
I'll give it a 7.5.
Alright, and the last in our Marvel section is Uncanny X-Men issue number 1. It's a good introductory issue, though it's not as good as Wolverine and the X-Men was last week. They kind of rushed the story a little bit too quickly, and overall kind of falters because of it, but it's a really great read otherwise.
It definitely picks up way too fast. It's just general dialogue, and then within a page flip, it turns to just shoot 'em up action. And I think it's because with Wolverine and the X-Men, it kind of, you have to deliver a little bit more dialogue than action. But overall, I give it a 7.5.
I would just give it a 7. We're going to shift things over to the image section with Spawn issue 213. The cover is very deceiving. The cover looks great. Interior art is nothing like that. It's very dark, gritty. Kind of the character designs are bland, yet Spawn is very detailed. The story is moving at a snail's pace, and I'm losing interest very quickly. They need to either pick it up and show what's going on next, or I'm going to actually drop this book off. And I'm going to give this one a 5. And the next one for Image Comics is Invincible issue number 84. Great series, great issue, though it is filler. Artwork's great, though the inking is a little strange. I guess they picked new inkers, so it's a little off to me. And I mean, it's just setting up for the next storyline, so not a lot happens. But it's an interesting twist, and it's an interesting take on what is to come, so I enjoyed it. I give it probably an 8.
Now we're moving on to our DC section. First is Action Comics issue number 3. It's a lot more of introduction to Clark Kent as a character more than Superman. Definitely, he's going through his ups and downs in his career. And as Superman, not everyone's liking the Man of Steel so far. And it's a new side of Superman that I'm actually liking.
Yeah, they do a really great job of Morrison's doing a great job of showing the duality between Clark Kent and Superman. And it's making Superman actually interesting for once, and I would give Action Comics an 8.
I give it an 8.
Next up is Swamp Thing, issue number 3. I personally liked it, though I think he didn't like it nearly as much as I did. It's very graphic, but it does have a very cool setup for a villain, and it's like a world-threatening villain, which is interesting for me at least, and it's takes a form that I wouldn't expect. So I thought it held the issue really well.
It's pretty interesting. I'm not saying it's not interesting, but I will say it's pretty cool. Two opposites fighting. That's always a cool thing to have. There's just something about it. It just didn't really grasp towards me. But overall, I think it's a good story, and I'm gonna pick up the next issue, of course. This issue just didn't really do it for me. I'd give it like a 7.5.
I thought it was an 8.5. I really liked it.
Now we take you to Red Lanterns issue number 3. This has been one of my favorite issues for the New 52. This issue, the dialogue and the art has never been so well together. There's just lines, you read them and you see the facial expressions on either one of the characters, and the emotion just pours out, and it's really gives you a new depth to this comic, and it really does justice to it.
Yeah, and I mean, what could have been a very gimmicky comic book ends up being a great read. A lot of character development, and then capitalizing on rage as more of just being angry, but how rage affects people. You know, how they do well on, or definitely do justice into injustices and what have you. And overall, I mean, the artwork's great read, definitely worth the pickup. I mean, this one's a solid 9.
This one was a 9 as well for me. Now we're moving on to our tops picture this week. Up next is Animal Man issue number 3, and it's very something that comes out of your worst nightmare kind of thing. Looking at this, there's something that really gives you a sense of fear, but definitely although there's something at the back of your head that's telling you, that lets you know that this is disgusting, the story keeps pulling you in even further and further, and definitely it's taking an interesting turn, and I will definitely be picking up the next issue.
Yeah, this one is extremely twisted. The monsters are very surreal. Some of them actually look like the Thing. The story's great, and the characterization has never been better. And there's a slight twist in the narrative in this one that kind of gives it a little extra push. And I loved it. It was
Animal Man's family is in danger, and he's at a point where he has to be in two places at once. And his daughter may or may not have some pretty cool powers. Something I'm gonna watch out for in issue number 4, which is coming to be pretty promising.
Yeah, this one's a 9.5.
Definitely a 9.5 for me.
And finally, we come to Detective Comics issue number 3, picking up last week with the supposedly dead Jim Gordon. And this issue, some fantastic artwork, and it really drives the story. And Batman is top of his game. Batman is Batman in this. It is well written, and it's amazing.
Batman's definitely in his prime. His detective skills have never been spot on. He's picking up things immediately. He's making the right calls, and it really shows in pretty much just his thought process. Definitely, this new villain is something that's pushing Batman into something else. Obviously, he's having trouble with a simple henchman, so Batman kind of has to switch up his game. It's definitely an interesting turn to a story that could have flopped very easily.
Yeah, and the twists in this issue, or the twists in Detective Comics so far have been amazing. The twist in this one is also incredible. It makes me want to pick up issue 4.
It's definitely topped the last 2, to say the least.
Yeah, this one for me this week is a 10 out of 10.
Things get to 10.
Alright, and that's it for the reviews this week. Short, sweet, and simple. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel at Invincible Nerds. Follow us on Twitter at Invincible Nerds, obviously. Check out our website, invinciblenerds.celstudios.com. There's a hyphen between CEO and Studios. Any questions, comments, concerns, any comics you want us to check out, any comics that you've written that you want us to review, anything, just email us, Ethan at celstudios.com. Again, hyphen between CEOs and Studios. You know, like us on Facebook. And yeah, that about wraps it up.
As always, thank you for tuning in, and make sure you stay up to date with what's going on, and we'll have more for you soon.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Francisco.
And we're Invincible Nerds.